Welcome back to the Advanced Selling Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bill Caskey.
I'm Bryan Neal.
And this is the longest running sales training podcast history. There's a lot of sales podcasts out there. We have no ill will, even though we own this frickin' market for 10 years. And now we're real happy. There's a lot of good podcasts.
Great.
And that really is good because we want this, we want the water to lift all the boats.
I love
and
that.
So the more, the better.
Any more cliche sayings? I love that one. Rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes.
I said rising water lifts your boat.
Yep.
Up
And a
into the
tsunami destroys them all.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone's on the podcast train. It's kind of flattering.
I am too.
You know,
I am too.
And people say, when you say you've been doing a podcast for 14 years, they're like, 14 years? I didn't know the podcasts were invented that long ago. It's like, yeah, they were.
And here's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Trivia.
Oh.
There are, I don't know, 5 million or 7 million podcasts. So I thought everybody in the country had one, but apparently not.
Right.
There's 5 million. Do you know how many are active, meaning they produce content every week?
No, out of 5 million? How many?
Yeah. How many do you think?
500,000?
Yeah. 5 to 600,000.
That's crazy.
So even though it sounds like
Yeah.
it's an exhaustively competitive market, it really isn't.
Yes, that's crazy. We're going to get into our topic. Our topic is personal branding, by the way. This is a really good topic. Before we do, a couple of shout-outs.
You not to tell them.
Oh, damn it.
And
I'm
then
sorry.
I thought we were going to make this kind of organic,
fault.
but I did tell him what the topic was, but you
I'm
still
sorry.
haven't
That's
heard
all I'll
the-
say.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Trying to get them to get past my story. So here's my story. My parents came in, they got their shots. So we did Christmas on April 16th because my mom was real important for her. Kids all open the Christmas gifts and all that jazz. And before they came to my house, they went to my hometown to go to the eye doctor because my stepdad was having some problems with his eyes. And he was having double vision and things like this. Do you know anyone in your family that's really frugal? Like really cheap?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my stepdad is really frugal and cheap. If Tide detergent is on sale, he'll buy 4 cases, and they'll have enough Tide to last him until the next millennium.
Which is practical and frugal.
Yes.
At least he won't drive 400 miles to
No.
save $1.
No.
I mean, at least that's good.
Well, he will do that actually too.
Come to think of it.
But he was having these eye problems, seeing double vision, and he went to the optometrist and ophthalmologist, wherever they go to, and came out and said, well, figured out what the problem was. I'm like, what's the problem? His name is Ralph. That's my stepdad, who I love dearly. He, to save money, had been wearing his contacts that are supposed to be dailies for between 14 and 35 days each because he didn't want to pay for the dailies.
Didn't want to pay for dailies.
Whoopsie daisy. Now, that is a really big sign
That's
of
frugal. That's
over frugal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Obsessed.
got to step back and say, okay, gang, And of course, your contact lens costs like, 14 cents or 20, whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
if you're trying to save money, don't do it by overwearing daily contacts.
There's
you're
other
going to
ways.
wind up
There's other
at the
ways.
eye doctor's paying $1,000
Yeah.
to have cataract surgery or whatever.
Well, that's the thing that when
crazy.
you look at being cheap, and I know I am on some things, other things I'm not, but when I'm cheap on something, it always comes back to haunt me,
Always.
a year or two later.
I'm not cheap. I overspend. Like I never ask. I don't negotiate. I'll just pay whatever it is.
I agree.
I'll deal with that. Whatever. Hey, a listener shout out. We didn't get permission, so I'm just going to say Christopher S.
Okay.
Christopher S. Because we didn't ask. I don't think he'd mind, but put a really nice post up. He is a member of our insider group. If you're not a member of our insider group, what are you waiting for? You need to be a part of this. Put a really cool post up, a story about there's a small group of insiders, ASP insiders, who have their own little group. And they call themselves the Globetrotters because they're from all over the world together. And that's what this insider group is all about. If you don't follow, I can't say his name. I don't want to say his name because we didn't ask. But Christopher S. Or look up me.
Well,
I posted on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, if people
his
go
thing.
into the group, they'll see, because he's pretty active.
He is active in the LinkedIn group. Yeah, so go see that. But if there's any reason to join a program like the ASP Insider, it's to create some new connections and camaraderie. And like we did the thing on loneliness, we got a lot of action on that deal. It brings people together. And there's just no better way, I think, these days to better yourself than being part of a group like that. So thanks, Chris, for the nice shout out. It was really great. Showed a great story. And then now everybody knows my nickname was Curly Neal. Do you know that?
Well, I've
nickname is Curly.
got 2 comments on this.
Yeah.
Let me react to that. The first thing is, you can develop really good relationships quickly with Zoom and with virtual.
Yeah.
So like I can meet Chris online, and 5 minutes later, we're fast friends because there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Plus, there's an affinity in this group.
Yeah.
Second thing is, We have a real Harlem Globetrotter that follows the show.
Shush. Are you serious? Who?
Derek Grant.
No kidding.
Derek Grant lives
that makes
in
me
he
excited.
lives in Carmel. He graduated from college. He was trying to make it in the pros, and he ended up playing for the Harlem Globetrotters for 3 or 4 years.
That is
Great ball
fantastic.
player. Derek Grant is in our group, and he just commented on one of our posts the other day. And so not only do we have a Globetrotter group,
Wow.
we have a real Harlem Globetrotter.
Now, I just feel special, like more than I ever did just then. That we have a Harlem Globetrotter. Because if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, I mean, that was just, seeing the Harlem Globetrotters was like seeing just magic. It's just beautiful.
Derek wrote a
man,
book.
that's awesome.
He speaks and he does a lot of mentoring for kids and for men, and he's just a really gem of a guy. And so he's, he follows us and listens. And so anyway, we got
Shout
two
out to the Harlem
Globetrotters.
Globetrotters. That's great. And one more thing. You want to talk about the Clubhouse deal?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
We are giving some thought to doing something a little bit more event-based on Clubhouse. And if you're not on Clubhouse, I suggest you get on. If nothing else, it really helps you understand the kinds of conversations that are happening on certain topics that might be interesting to you. So in the LinkedIn group, if you're a member of the LinkedIn group, give us a yay or nay if you'd like to have us do something on Clubhouse. It's more of a 1 hour. I wouldn't call it a webinar. I'd call it a moderated discussion on a certain topic. So just go to our LinkedIn group, go to the group page and say yes or no, and maybe even what topic you might think would be useful.
Yeah, that'd be
for
fun
us to do.
Love to do that. Okay, now the big topic reveal.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here's the topic.
Ready.
I have been observing Clubhouse for a few weeks and been on and been active in a couple of communities. And one of the things I noticed is there's several topics that are big on Clubhouse. And for those of you that don't know Clubhouse, it's a place where you can go into rooms that have very specific topics. Like the topic might how to be a better entrepreneur. A topic might be how to develop a podcast. And what I found was in some research is that there's 3 topics that are really big.
Okay.
Podcasting is one.
Yep.
Now, part of that's because I follow podcasting, so I'm always notified when there's a podcasting room. But when I look at the room size, they're huge. 2 is social media marketing, and 3 is personal branding.
Oh.
And I don't know, they vary in terms of size. I can't tell you that personal branding is first or third, but it always has large attendance in the rooms where people are talking about it.
Yes.
And I thought about the webinar that we did with Bryan Gray 2 years ago-ish, and we had a great attendance. Then we went and created a product that's called the Personal Branding Makeover, which is for insiders. It's in your resource kit. So if you have not watched that yet, or if you want to watch it, we used to sell it for $200. Now, if you just join Insiders, you get it for free.
Right.
But we talk about the importance of personal branding. And so here's my question to you. That's all the lead up there. It was like a half-hour lead up. Do you think it's more important post-COVID and post-pandemic, more important, less important, or the same importance to have a professional salesperson build their personal brand?
Do I have to say one of those 3? Because
No,
I have
you can
another
just-
word.
you can just
I
pontificate
think it is a non-negotiable. I'm so strong on it right now. And you know what? When we did the program, you were a little stronger than I was when we did the program. I was not all the way there. I have changed my tune. I think it's non-negotiable. I don't think there's another way to be. I don't think you can ignore it anymore.
I agree.
You're going to get left behind. You just are. And that doesn't mean I think we need to step back too. So that's my answer. It's non-negotiable. I think it's more important
I do too.
than ever. And even pandemic or not, I think it's just the way the world is now.
It was growing in its importance, but I think the pandemic and I think a lot of things happened. But I totally agree. I don't think it's a matter of if, but when. But I think you just have to get into it. So I'd like to maybe share 2 or 3 things that we have found work for us or have found work for our clients. We always say we don't have to always be proof of what it works, but we have clients that it works for, and so we think we would like to share a couple ideas there.
No doubt. It's ironic too, because I just did one of our programs. We have like 2 meetings a month with this group, and we did are you ready for it? Ready for a cliche word? Ready? We did a smarketing program. That's where sales, for those of you who don't know, that's where sales and marketing come together. We call that, I'm doing Dr. Lethal air quotes, smarketing is what that's called.
I love the concept. I hate the word. So
that's
there
actually
you go.
trademark. Someone's got a trademark on it. Are we going to get a letter? Cease and desist?
Yeah.
So
I've got a poem. I've got a
Personal branding
poem that I
poem?
wrote for
Oh,
personal branding.
You did not. Is it a
kind
haiku?
it's kind of out of the Johnny Cochran.
Hang on. Okay.
Johnny Cochran.
You have to
book
tell
of
people who Johnny
poetry.
Cochran is.
He was an attorney that, unfortunately, did I say
Passed
fortunately?
away. No.
Unfortunately, passed away. But he was great with if the glove don't fit.
Yeah, you must have quit.
You must have quit.
Yeah.
Well, here's one for
I'm
branding.
ready.
Build your brand, create demand, be in command.
Drops the mic. Look at that.
Boom,
Bill Caskey,
baby.
Eminem, look out. Bill Caskey is dropping it hot.
Well,
Say it again.
I do
Can
believe.
you say it again?
Yeah. Build your brand, like we're going to talk about
Yeah.
today. And when you do that, it creates demand for you. And when demand is created for you, you are in command of the sales process and of all the sequences.
I love it. We got to put that in a rap song. I'll work on that.
I'll let you do
I'll
that.
work on that in
Yeah.
my music production section of the studio
well,
over
you've
there.
got studio, and you've got your son, you've got your
we got
DJ,
it all, right? Yeah, here we
mixing device.
That's great. I love that. Absolutely love that because that's what it does. It creates demand, and it creates demand without you knowing that it's creating. You don't even have to try. Now you can try. You can try to create.
Yeah.
You can do a campaign, but you'll get demand. It's just fishing. It's line in the water.
So let's talk about maybe you offer up two
Yep.
things. I'll
Yep.
offer up two things that
Yep.
we would recommend to our audience. And again, we understand our audience is not public speakers and coaches, although we do have some. You are frontline
Yes.
client acquisition people, VPs of sales. So we understand that we're not talking to people who are going to be Instagram influencers necessarily, but the word influencer, I think, comes into this conversation in that if you're building your brand, you are being influential in some way.
Yes. And if you don't follow on Instagram influencers in the wild, you're crazy. Have you ever followed that account? Influencers in the wild. You need to follow influencers. It's basically taking people that take videos of influencers like dancing in the street and stuff and then posting it up. Like it's really funny actually.
Okay.
Sidebar. Sorry. Here's the one thing I would do. This is kind of a multiple thing. I believe, the book Atomic Habits? You heard of this book?
James
Great
Clear.
book. James Clear. So I'm listening to it right now. Love it. Again, you read a great book and you're like, okay, this has been right in front of me for 25 years, but it just couches it up in a great way. I believe the most important element of personal branding is consistent behavior, bar none. The most important part of personal branding is consistent behavior. We have demonstrated that with this podcast. We have released one episode every Monday for 14 years. And people say, how'd you get your podcast so big? Oh my gosh, you got to all this jazz. And I'm like, my joke is we just outlasted everybody. We just kept doing it. And you will lose as much momentum as you will gain by stopping or sparsing it out. So if you go pedal down, and post, and then stop, you go back to zero or below zero. So you have to find a mechanism. And Atomic Habits is the book that I love that tells you about this, how to create habits that are positive for yourself and then do them consistently. So that's my first piece of advice. You work a plan consistently. And I'm talking about every day. Every day.
That's awesome. That's so good. And until it becomes a habit. Like this is a habit for us.
It's a habit,
now.
right.
And we enjoy doing it. So it's not a
habit.
forced habit.
No.
We don't have to create discipline around it. We just have it on our calendars. Well, here's one thing that I was working with a client the other day, and she owns a construction company, and she has been somewhat reluctant to get into personal brand building, even though she's really sharp and she's articulate and she's just really good at it. She has a great vibe on camera. And she went to a university, and this university just got named in the top 10 in the United States. You know who it is? No reason to. Well, it's Purdue. Purdue University. Top engineering firms.
Oh, engineering.
Yeah.
Well, of course. Yeah. That's fine.
Easy there.
Well,
I know you were having a little
come on
heartburn
now.
there about IU Purdue.
Hoosiers.
Anyway.
Hoosiers. IU.
Okay. And so she reposted this article that talked about Purdue's STEM engineering deal.
Yeah.
And since she went there, she was very proud of it.
Yeah.
And so we looked at the post, and I said, okay, how could we have leveraged this a little bit more? So a lot of times, I think when you're building your brand, you can post stuff, but where is the back end of that? And so she's a member of the Purdue Engineering Society or Club, all alums who are in engineering degrees, 10,000 people in that club.
Right.
And she never thought, and it's no fault of her, she just wasn't thinking about brand building that way. She could have connected that video, thing. She could have actually shot a video saying, hey, I'm so proud today. I just received the copy of USA Today. Here it is, Purdue, and connected. And who knows how many thousands of people in that group would have seen that.
Yes.
And engineers are who she calls on. So this is just an example of, rather than just, okay, it's 9 o'clock, I got to post a video, take a little time and say, who else needs to see it? Who else can I tag, connect with? And don't just blindly tag a whole bunch of people, but think about it intelligently. How can I leverage this action to get more mojo out of it?
That's wonderful. Yeah. And it's the thoughtfulness that I love there. Like, that's a strategic move to go to the Purdue thing. And then, like you said, then it's just out there for all those people to react to, comment on, get to know her at their own pace, you know, all the time. It's really great. Here's something I would recommend that you do as a listener to the Advanced Selling Podcast. If this is not a habit for you, I'm going to recommend that you find a personal branding buddy. And you two together, and you can do a small group, and you might find 4 people. It can be a teammate of yours, someone on your team. It could be one of your friends, but you're both in professional sales. Hopefully you both listen to the podcast. If not, get those other people too.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And then I want you to carve out, and you only need a half an hour every 2 weeks to do this. So you pick noon to 12:30 every other Friday. You get together, just like Bill and I get together to record a podcast. And for a half an hour, you both do nothing but personal branding behavior. That means you shoot video, you post, you write content, you do thoughtful comment, and that just starts to create consistency. The other thing it does, though, more than anything, is it creates accountability. Because if Bill and I record the podcast separately, I guarantee we fall on our face. If all of a sudden, this is how we got into this, we had a radio show, and the reason the radio show fizzled, one of the reasons was because I couldn't be there. It's like, well, it was no fun without doing it.
I remember that.
Right? Yeah.
I've told that story many times.
Yeah, it sucks. And so, well, it didn't suck because we did this thing, but that's a thing. So find a person, and the odds go up. Just like if a workout buddy at 6 a.m., if you got to meet them, odds go up, you show up. Okay, find a personal branding buddy.
Is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And find somebody who's also in the same kind of boat you are, who are kind of need to do it, but I'm not sure. Don't find somebody who's crushing it, because then you're going to feel shame that you're not where they are. Just find somebody else who wants to do it. That's good. Here's one that I would recommend you do, and that is, you need to have fun with it. If we have fun doing this, I think it shows. I know people have talked to both of us privately, just said, look, you guys just seemed like you really like each other. And like,
we do. It's good.
But you need to have fun in this exercise. So if you are out with some friends and you go and see somebody across the room that it was an old friend from college, go take a picture and connect it up with the college. I mean, just have some fun with it. And I don't do enough of the personal stuff. I know one thing I've got to get better at is just putting personal stuff up there. I tend to be business all the time, and I think that's kind of boring. But I do have fun. I think you just need to have fun, whether it's an article, whether it's an audio clip, whether it's a video that you're producing. Smile, have some fun. One of my clients put in some outtakes of the videos. They had personal brand videos they did, and they put in the outtakes. And those outtakes are hilarious.
Hilarious.
And you could probably put that in lieu of the personal brand video and get more action on it.
Yes.
But have some fun with it. Be willing to expose yourself, be vulnerable, and I restate that. Be willing to be vulnerable. How about that?
I love it. If you want to follow someone on social media in business who I think exudes what Bill is talking about, follow the married couple that is Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler.
Yeah.
Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler. Yeah. Sarah founded Spanx. She's one of the youngest self-made female billionaires, almost a billionaire, I think, on the planet. And Jesse also founded NetJets, I think, or Marquis Jets, one of the two. And they are so funny and so real and have so much fun with their social media. And they're business people, and they understand the power of that personal branding. Yeah. It's fantastic. Last thing, can I get one more?
Yeah,
last one. And this is, I want to be a pressure release valve for our listeners right now. This is a pressure release valve for you, because a lot of you are listening to this going,
is it relief
oh my God.
Or is it release? Is it a pressure relief or pressure release? I'm just correcting you here.
Pressure release valve? It's not a relief? Relieve? What is it?
We're looking at everybody in the room, and nobody's daring.
The millennials have no idea. What is it?
Relief.
Pressure relief valve?
It's relieving pressure.
Relieve.
Well, it could be either. It could be releasing pressure.
Now, did you think
I'll go with your
release
release.
the whole time?
Well, it's like, I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no. Remember the Stones?
Yeah, of course,
I
of course.
can't get no
No
satisfaction. I can't.
Get
The original version was girly action.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the original version. And radios came along and said, oh, no, you can't say that. And what they said is, no, that's not what we said. We said girl reaction.
Oh,
So that's how.
I see
That's how they get. So that's one of those that you all thought it was girly action. It was not. It was girl reaction.
That's really clever by Mick and the
Yeah,
boys.
that's
isn't
right.
it?
I'm sure it was false, but
So pressure relief valve.
Go ahead.
Here.
Yeah, keep going.
If you're going, man, I don't like Instagram. No thanks. I don't like the sound of my voice podcasting. No thanks. I look dumb on video. No thanks. If you look at all the channels to choose from, you will find one that fits you. Mm-hmm. To get going, pick one channel and just focus on that. I've chosen two, podcasting and LinkedIn, right? I've got an Instagram account, Snapchat account. Yes, nothing there. Working on those, like you said, Bill, development area for me to find the next one. But I'm also not trying to do all of them at once. Now, some people do that. That's fine if you do that. But from a sales, professional, personal branding standpoint, just focus on one at first and then add another and then add another. Don't try to do them all at once.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in getting a copy of that personal branding program, it was a 6 or 7 module with videos and handouts and some examples of graphics and photo shoots. I mean, it was a lot in there. Go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider, join the Insider program, and that program will be a part of that program. How many times can I say program in one sentence?
3.
4? Okay.
4.
I got one more. So also, if you're not already a member of our LinkedIn group, go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/LinkedIn. And also, as we said earlier, if you're interested in seeing us on Clubhouse and doing a special event on Clubhouse, let us know in the LinkedIn group stream. Post something up there, and we will take your advice.
Love it. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.